Hey babes, so today is story time day and I'm just gonna get right into it. As most of you already know who are watching this video, I went to California for the first time ever in my entire life, and I went with my roommate. Now this is something that I never ever thought I would be talking about, or even like talking about that person. Most of you already know who she is. I'm not gonna say her name, I'm not gonna give her ass that. But if you watch my vlogs, you know who this girl is, and honestly, people like flagging videos, so I'm not going to talk about her directly. But I will refer to her as like either Yolanda from Selena, or I'll just call her Tahoe, because her name is like a car. So the people that know me know that I have always wanted to go to California. I was not one of those kids that was like, oh, when I get out of school, I'm going to go to New York and I'm going to be on Broadway. No, I was always a California type of person, I felt. So when it came the opportunity, I could go with my roommate, who we were cool with at the time. We had a lot of fun together. And on top of that, she's from there. I was excited. So when the opportunity came, y'all, I took it. I didn't care. Because, you know, you never know when it's going to present itself again. I really did not want to go down there by myself and not really know what I was getting myself into. Now, I was not going to make this video, honestly. And now that I'm on the other side of the camera, it used to get on my nerves whenever people would say that. And I'd be like, just say it. But now I totally get it. At first, you know, I've already put it out there. It was on Snapchat, and I was thinking, if I just post some videos, nobody's going to ask me about it anymore. You know what I mean? I was just going to post a bunch of vlogs, some different story times. People would just kind of let it go. But guys, after like the following events and things that happened, that shit just did not sit right with me. And I was like, you know what? I need to say something. I'm not a malicious person. I don't like putting people on the spot. I don't like doing stuff like that. But this one was so bad. And honestly, like the aftermath. And then on top of that, like her mom lied to the police. And then she had her best friend like threatening me. No. As soon as that started happening, like which was like a minute after the fight happened, I was done. And even people were commenting who were going on forums and stuff were like, girl, you need to say something. This person is saying this and this and that. I did not go on them. I'm just pretty much going off of screenshots and things that people were telling me, because, you know, they pretty much coincided with each other. Now, guys, listen. I don't even know how to go about this. So first I'll give you guys the backstory on how we met, because a lot of people were like, you look like a mismatched couple. You know, I don't really pick and choose my friends like that. Like, I don't pick it off of looks. Maybe I should start. If we gel together, then we're good. Then I'll tell you guys about all the events leading up to the actual altercation, and then the aftermath, and like just the crazy lies or whatever. Now listen, I am not making this video for haters. Like, I don't feel the need to defend myself. I've never tried to paint myself in this like picture. I mean, look at my videos, y'all. Everything that's happened to me in my life is just a story time waiting to happen, and this stuff actually happens to me. I don't like make clickbait and like lie in my story times and all that stuff. Shit is always real, and that's like the best way that I really know how to give it to y'all. But I always can show it better than I can tell you. One thing I have to get out of the way is that this girl knew a lot about me, so for her to go online and say those things is like, you seem kind of suspect, and there's a lot of loopholes in your story. I mean, I'll be honest with you guys, this girl reached out to me several times, like wanting to just collab and hang out together. And then on top of that, when I had like a lot of drama going back in April, she had watched me for months prior to that. Then she would watch videos of people talking about me just because they didn't agree with my lifestyle choices, and she would always say that, you know, those people are crazy, they need to get a life, stuff like that. She would read forums. I mean, she would always comment on other people. I mean, that's just, you know, she was just a regular person who watched me and enjoyed my videos. So for her to come on now, knowing a lot about me and trying to backtrack and act like, you know, a nigga that got turned down, and he'll be like, oh, you a hoe. You know, that's what she's pretty much saying now, that I was a prostitute, I'm a criminal, I'm a hoe. You know, just the usual stuff that whenever, I don't know why girls do this to each other, but whenever they don't have like a good backup, you immediately just become a hoe. When she's having more sex than I am, okay? Anyway, guys, I don't need to defend my pussy to anybody. Like, if y'all gonna come out here and be the pussy police, save it for somebody else. Whatever I do with this should not be anybody's problem anyway. And on top of that, if I am such a criminal and I'm this and I'm that and all that, then you shouldn't have had me in there with your fiance and your stepson. Like, come on, girl. It's not making sense. Now, usually whenever I do like a story time and I'm talking about a specific person, I usually will wait like a year or two or 5, 10 years. I usually don't just like get in front of a camera and start talking about it. But it's literally been a week now, and I like to see things play out. I love that I do that, because I was right. I knew that, you know, some people were gonna be fucking grimy. And guys, this girl contradicts herself so damn much. She went online. she created a victims forum on a website that she would always talk down on and be like, the women have no life, the people on there just talk shit all day, they need to get a new hobby. She even said that she's only been on there like once or twice, and that was literally to read up on me, which should have been a sign. So it's like, now she wants to talk down on me and say this and that and this and that. Okay, honestly y'all, I am so fucking tired of people talking shit, not backing it up. And there are even people who feel the need to make videos about me simply because they don't agree with my life choices. One way that I know that whatever she's doing is not really working is because, guys, I have gotten no hate. It has been a full 7 days. I was even gonna address the haters. I only got one comment from someone who was trying to defend her. That was it. It's been a week. There have been hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of comments. And y'all, people online are not nice. So if I do something wrong, you know they are gonna come quick for me. So that's how I knew, okay, this girl, whatever she's doing, she's lying and people are catching her in her lies, which is how I was even able to compile this video, because I don't go searching. So let's talk about it. Okay, so most of y'all don't know who this girl is. I am not gonna shout her ass out because she does not deserve it. But if you watch my channel, you know exactly who she is. So we met through YouTube earlier this year, like February-ish type of thing. She had been watching me, and I guess she just decided to reach out. I would see her comment here and there, and then she messaged me on Instagram, and she was like, hey, I'm in Round Rock, we should hang out. I'll insert the text messages if I remember. I'll blur her out, of course, because people like flagging videos. So I just replied, oh yeah, sure. I mean, people reach out to you on YouTube all the time, and nobody ever really follows through with their stuff, so I honestly didn't think nothing of it. So fast forward to March, she messages me on Instagram. I had been putting up, like, I guess moving vlogs, I'm not really sure, or she was just asking me how are things going, and I told her I was in the middle of moving. So then I go on to say that I'm getting ready to get like a flatbed U-Haul truck. I have to make this one last trip to just finish everything off. I have been making multiple trips back and forth to the storage, and I actually had some items that just would not fit in my car. It was like a chair, pieces of a bookcase, and a mirror, I think. Or I ended up giving that mirror to Goodwill. Anyway, y'all see what I'm saying. It would not fit into my car door or the trunk. So she volunteered her fiance, and she was like, hey, you know, he's not doing anything. I'll ask him if he can come help you. And I was like, are you serious? And she said, yeah, we have a truck. We used to have a moving company. He can totally come and help you. Guys, I would do the same thing for a person, so I really, once again, did not think anything of it. So he comes by, quickly helps me, I give him a little something, and I go on by my day. And then we were supposed to hang out afterwards, but I was just so tired of the moving all day. And then like on my last day living there, we were supposed to hang out again, and we just never did. So that was okay though. She ended up moving to Houston from Round Rock like a week later, and I was already living in Southeast Texas. So I would pass through to come to Austin like monthly, and I would be saying, oh, you know, we should hang out, but then it just would never happen or whatever. Then when I was having all that drama back in April, she would just kind of like message me and just, I don't know, stuff like that. And she would always comment. One day on FameBit, she wrote me because I put a collab out on there, and she was like, oh, I know I don't have enough subbies, blah, 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 blah. But yeah, I mean, like I said, she was nice, friendly, didn't think nothing much of her. Now at that point, I had already moved out of my roommate's house. I was living with my mom, which was no problem. My mom is cool, and we got into our little spats here and there, y'all, but it was really nothing living with her. A lot of big YouTubers actually still live with their parents, surprisingly, and it's not even a cultural thing. So I was there having fun, saving up money, because I decided that I wanted to invest in something, and I was going to be making a pretty large purchase. So at first I was looking at my mom's area. I changed my mind. I wanted to be in the Houston area, like where I wanted to buy it. So I will go to auction, y'all, every first Tuesday of the month, and I ended up buying my piece of land after like the third time going down there. The first couple times I just didn't have enough. I was getting outbid, or I just wasn't saying it fast enough, you know, all that stuff. So yeah, I ended up buying it, and then I was like, oh, I need to be closer to my piece of land for whatever I choose to do with it. I hadn't really decided, but I knew that I wanted to start working with a contractor, you know, just figuring out good investments, doing more research on the area, just because I wasn't too sure. I started looking for a roommate. I would go down like once a week, and I would just take a day and look at like 2 or 3 people, and then sometimes it was just kind of like not what I expected, you know, it just wasn't really working out. One day, I don't know how, but I don't know if she texted me or something, or, you know, and I just decided to call her because I'm really bad with texting, but we started talking, and she was telling me about how she had just gotten married, and I was like, oh, you know, we were just talking about her trip and all that stuff. Then she had actually watched one of my vlogs where I was telling people about Generation Beauty, how anybody can join it, and she went and she signed up, and she ended up getting invited to the Brooklyn Generation Beauty. And I told her, oh my gosh, I got invited too, so I'm gonna be going. And she was like, oh my gosh, that's great, we can both travel together, because we both didn't really know anybody that was going. I still don't know anybody else that's going. I mean, I know a lot of people that's going from the Ipsy OS, but you know, that's another story. So we started talking, and we were gonna just kind of keep an eye out on the flight to try to get it early so we could get a really good price, and you know, just trying to see about our living situations once we get there and all that. Once again, guys, this was like our third maybe time talking on the phone, so we were just trying to find somebody to partner up with and, you know, have fun in New York, because this would be both of our first times going there also. So after we get off the phone and I tell her about like me looking for a roommate, she texts me, and I'll show you guys a text, and she's saying how they're actually looking for a roommate. They're working on one income right now, and it would really help them out, and it would help me out because I'll be closer to my land. So I was like, oh my gosh, girl, yeah. She said I can move in anytime, and she's even sent me pictures of the place, everything. And she said it could be month to month. It's, you know, no hassle, nothing like that. Of course. Of course. So guys, maybe like 2 weeks after the conversation, I ended up moving in. I wanted to make sure I was done with everything on that side of town, and yeah, so I moved in. Everything was cool, even though okay, first of all, people that keep saying that she's married, I'm only saying this because this girl, she was really trying to dog me and say really bad, nasty, like, lies about me online. And she was just trying to talk about my personal business, which I'm not even ashamed of, y'all. I use my real name on here. I'm not ashamed of anything. I'm not saying that people who don't are, but I'm just saying, like, I'm good, you know? She tried it. So her and her husband are not actually married. Now, the country that they got married in, it's legal, but it's not legal anywhere else. It's just one of those places that's just how it is. And she said that she did that on purpose, simply because he doesn't have a job, and she didn't want to marry him jobless, and she felt like that's what was going to carry on into their life, and that's how it was going to be. So I totally understood that. And also, she does not have any kids. People keep saying she's a mother, she's a wife, and I'm like, I mean, if she was, guys, that's totally fine. For me, marriage is not the end all of end all, and that's not a defense mechanism that I would use to defend my actions. But she has no kids. Now, she does have a stepson who I thought that she even explained in her videos that she had. So people who keep saying that stupid shit like, she doesn't need to steal a SD card, she's married. How do those two things correlate? They don't. So I move in, and I give her like that month's rent. It was like the 15th, you know, for like the rest of the month. Then I pay my whole way for August, so that I didn't have to worry about it. I typically do it that way. And then I move in, and I immediately get to work. You know, I'm recording, I'm trying to post videos, like, you know, a lot of videos, because she had really fast Wi-Fi, trying to update people, and we were just having fun, honestly. She had a huge makeup room that you guys saw, and sometimes I would go in there and get like a few lipsticks or something and just try them out before I would buy them, because, you know, buying online, I mean, she has a whole thing there, and it was cool. It was really no big deal, which is crazy about how, like, I mean, we were just having fun, honestly. I already know that people act a certain way when you first meet them, and it's not always that way. But I honestly trusted her, you guys, and she's older than me, so I really didn't think much of anything. So I noticed that in some of the comments, people would be saying stuff like, oh, she looks like she's annoyed with you, like you guys just don't have any chemistry. Her personality is pretty bland, but that's just how she is. That doesn't mean that she doesn't like people. I'm usually in a pretty good mood, and if I did see like mean comments about her, I would usually delete them so that she didn't feel uncomfortable, like, so that she wasn't uncomfortable coming back to the vlogs. But yeah, guys, I never forced that girl to be on camera. She would always be the person to be like, girl, we should be recording this, we're having so much fun right now, like, get out your camera, get out your camera. She would always be saying that. Even like one time I ran into a subscriber while she was with me, and I wasn't even gonna vlog the experience. She was like, girl, you should be vlogging this, and that's when I pulled out the camera. So guys, she was totally fine with vlogging with me. Nothing about my mental health, like she tried to say online, talking about me and all that stuff. So, and you even said in a vlog, the one when we were at Verts, how I am the same on camera and off. So who are you fooling? Who are you, like, what are you doing? It's either you're lying to people online, or you're lying to yourself. Either way, it's not good. Just stop it. Like, stop trying to make shit worse than what it is. But of course, that's what people do. She has like that fuckboy behavior where it's like, when you turn them down, they're like, oh, you a bitch. oh, you a hoe. Like, that's what she be doing. Like, she immediately went online and told people that I had like my mental state wasn't stable and that I was prostituting. Like, she told people that. And like, guys, because I considered her a friend, like, that really like came out of nowhere. And it's crazy because it's like, you spend all this time with someone and I just moved in and you have a husband, supposedly, which, you know, they're not married, but he is your fiance. And it's like, you would let a prostitute stay with you and you have a problem with it? Again, it didn't really make sense to me. And in front of your stepson, you're gonna let a prostitute in your house? I mean, come on. Like, that's the thing. I hate when people try to downplay, like, how you make your money. She knows I work extremely hard. Like, you guys, y'all think it's just recording videos, and people will tell y'all this time and time again. It is more than that. And she actually wants to do YouTube for a living, so it's like, she knows damn well that I work every single day. But whatever, go ahead, girl, try to downplay it. So while I was there, we were planning more like little trips. So we had the Brooklyn one coming up, which we had like booked the tickets for that. And then I was telling her about, we can go to New Orleans, which isn't that far from Houston. I mean, I have an aunt that stays there, and every time I come through and I don't say hi or I don't tell her I'm with friends, like, she always gets upset. So I was like, ooh, girl, we can go to New Orleans, have fun. We don't have to get an Airbnb. We can just stay with my aunt. She has a house there, and we don't have to worry about like checking in, checking out, all that bullshit, you know what I mean? And then we can have fun and not have to worry about all the other stuff. So before I even moved into her place, I had already screened for a study in Dallas. I needed to recoup the money that I bought the land with. Her man is actually just got done with his study. So people in the comments who were saying that she was talking about me doing studies, girl, first of all, you would do one yourself, but you're too big. Like, your BMI is too high, and your man is doing one currently, so it must not be that bad. So I was gone like a lot of the times. Some of the vlogs are really backed up, and I just really didn't feel like posting some of them on this channel. But yeah, I was doing a lot of back and forth and check-ins and all that stuff. Then one day on my very last one was about 2 weeks ago, and I checked out on a Saturday. It was Thursday through Saturday. I drove straight to Houston, and she called me because she was asking me about the washing machine. She tried to wash her clothes and it wasn't working. Now, if you guys watched the vlog called Anything That Can Go Wrong Will, I put just a medium load in like I would do any other day, y'all. I started it, and that thing just started flooding. Like, I went into the room because it was normal. It wasn't making no crazy noises, nothing. I went in there to go check on something, and it was just flooding everywhere. Now, when I was editing the video back, because they were out of town, you know, shit always goes down whenever you go out of town. I called her and I was like, you know, well, yeah, I called her and I was just like, hey girl, you know, the washing machine wasn't working. No, I texted her and I just told her that while you were gone, the washing machine wasn't working, but it started working again. And then when he came back, he did like 8 loads, so you know, nothing was wrong with it after that. And she was like, oh girl, we're getting new washing machines anyway. So just to address that for people who are wondering, like, the washers were from the 90s, and on top of that, she had bought it used. So the simple fact that they had gone through multiple moves and they were still working, I mean, of course they're gonna have issues. They were like brown and tan. They were really old, and you know, they were older. So yeah, she texted me about that, and then she was like, okay, well yeah, I'm on my way to California right now. And I was like, what? You know, like, what? She said, yeah, you know, you're gone, he's gone, and I thought you were gonna be gone longer, and I really didn't want to be in the house by myself. So I was like, girl, like, I was like, why didn't you tell me? You know, I always wanted to go and stuff. And she was like, no, I mean, I may go back next month. You know, I haven't seen my family in a few months, so I'm just here. And I mean, she was like, I didn't know you were coming back. And I was, you know, so we just let that go. I thought she was there for the Nick's Face Award. I didn't think much of it, y'all. I had to be back in Dallas on Monday anyway. But that was on a Saturday. That Monday, I had my outpatient visit. Then I had another one on Wednesday. So, you know, I'm doing my thing. I drive to Dallas on Monday. I do my outpatient, and then I get a call from her. We were talking, and once again, we got on the subject of her being in California. She was saying that she was just chilling. She wasn't really doing anything. She was staying with her friend. So, she always says that she has, like, friends or family to stay with, like, whenever she goes down there. And whenever me and her would talk about traveling, she would always be like, oh girl, we can just stay with this person. We don't have to worry about all of that. We just gotta get our flights. I don't know how it came up, but once again, I was like, oh wow, you know, girl, next time you go, let me know early, you know. And so she was like, you know what, we need to look up some tickets. And I was like, ooh, it's too last minute. We ended up finding a ticket for like $130 something. I didn't know if that was cheap or not, and she said that's cheap. And so she ended up getting it. Now the reason why she would usually like go about getting the tickets is because she had 2 credit cards, one with American Airlines and one with United. So we would get free check bags, and because she's a disabled veteran, she would get free parking. So that would be saving us like hundreds, like right off the bat, and our money could go to either like having a place to stay or like eating, just other shit besides airline fees. So I was all good with that. And then when she would buy something, I would just give her my portion after that. So she bought the ticket, and at first I asked her, I said, well, don't buy it yet, because y'all, she got a place to stay, but just because you say that you do don't mean that I always do, you know? Even though she was like reassuring me I will be fine, I didn't know for sure. So I was like, ooh, I need like, you know, a day to get things together, because usually, you know, we'll put it on reservation before we just buy it. I wanted to make sure that I told subscribers I was going to be there, get like apartment listing all together. Then I wanted to get like my bedding together and all that, because if you do Airbnb, a lot of times you have to request a booking, and you know, you don't just do an instant booking, you know? So I wanted to get all that together to make sure I was straight and we could really like have a good time. And so I asked her to reserve it for 24 hours, and she told me, oops, you know, I already bought it. And I said that she couldn't reserve it because it was like too short a notice or something like that. I'm not really sure why, but she couldn't do it. So she had already bought it. But then she was like, well, we have 24 hours to get a refund, so we're good. Y'all, that 24 hours went by like it was 30 minutes. I was going online. I did not know my areas. I thought West Hollywood was a little city. I thought the San Fernando Valley was a city. Like, y'all, I thought the Valley was a city. I thought you could just type in the Valley of California, and I didn't know it was like an area of places. So when I was looking up stuff online, I didn't know what I was doing, and I kept calling her. She wouldn't answer, and I was just getting really frustrated and kind of confused. So I started to get kind of like cold feet, and I was like, are you sure I should go? You know, I asked her. I'm not sure if I asked her. I think I asked her to text myself, like, are you sure I should go? I don't know if I should. You know, everything's kind of being rushed. And she was like, you think I'm not gonna have time to hang out with you or blah blah? And I was like, no, it's not that. It's just, you know, I wanted to get stuff together. And she was, you know, once again, she reassured me everything was cool. So I really didn't think anything about it. And she had also traveled with her man and used her credit card, and the bag fees were like taken care of or whatever. So yeah, I ended up booking me Airbnb in the LA area, like just a little bit outside of it, you know, but she also had a rental car, so we were good. So we're in Dallas at that point. This is Monday. The next morning on Tuesday, I drive back to Houston because I needed to go pick up this wig at the UPS. Then I need to go pick up just some other things and take care of stuff before I got started. Wednesday, I had to be back in Dallas, and I had an outpatient visit. And Wednesday was good because I could take a day and, you know, do stuff. So Wednesday around like 10 o'clock p.m., my Airbnb lets me know that I have been refunded because the lady couldn't do it anymore because she was going out of town that weekend. So I asked her if I could just do Thursday night. She said no, that was fine. I'm not gonna insert her thing here because I'm still working it out with them. She was supposed to refund me, and that wasn't really going through. So yeah, I'm still working on that. But yeah, I was really disappointed, and I was like, oh fuck, you know, my shit had been. But I didn't even see that until like Thursday morning, and I was rushing to the airport, y'all. I hadn't flown in like 16 years. Your girl was frustrated, going crazy. So at this point, I found out that my Airbnb had been canceled. My flight was at 8:45, and I didn't leave the house until 6:30. And if y'all have been to the Dallas airport, y'all, it's a small town. That shit is so big. There is like 15 buildings, 12 terminals, like, it's crazy. It's crazy. You had to take a bus. There's a toll road at the airport. I mean, oh my gosh. So I get there, and you know, I had to pay for parking. It was like $45 for 5 days. Then I took a bus to the airport. You guys saw all that. Once I get to the kiosk, she's like, okay, what's your advantage number for the person who booked it? And I was like, I don't know. So I call her again, and because I was late and it took me 2 hours to get there and I had to get gas and all that, they were actually closing out check-in because you have to be there at least 20 minutes or 15 minutes before you get on board. You know, I'm calling her, she's not answering, and I was like, fuck. So I ended up having to pay $25 for my check bag, which is fine. It's just that, you know, I could have done this by myself. I could have just bought my own ticket. I get on the flight and I get down to LA and everything was good. You know, we went out Venice Beach. We went to Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles. We were just eating, having fun. So that night, since my Airbnb had canceled, I went on Snapchat and I was asking people if anybody was doing Airbnb, you know, or if anybody knew someone, because I always see people in blogs who talk about doing it or they're gonna go stay at one. So one girl, her boyfriend did it, and but I had to stay there for a minimum of a week. And guys, this was Thursday and I was checking out on Tuesday, and so that wasn't working out, and so we ended up just driving to Lancaster because we could stay with her mom. Lancaster was like an hour from Burbank from where we were, and I do that in a day when I'm just running around doing errands, so it really wasn't that big of a deal. You know, we stayed there that night. The next day we go get our nails done. We're still in Lancaster. Once I got there, guys, there was no service. First of all, my phone had no service, and then there was no Wi-Fi. So y'all, I'm pretty much cut off from everything. You know, she knows her mom, you know, they're hanging out. There's no TV in my room, there's nothing, you know, I'm just out there. So the good thing is that we had a rental car. I just started editing videos and just trying to get you guys all up to date with what's going on with me. I just skipped a few vlogs and weeks and I just started it now. I would go to Target or Starbucks and I would go and I would upload, and that would take a few hours, and then, you know, that's how I was just doing it. So the day ended that night and I was feeling kind of discouraged. I'm not gonna lie, guys, I was feeling like I feel like I'm kind of on her. So I ended up texting her that night and I was like, I feel like it was a mistake coming here, you know, and I was not blaming her at all. It was all me. And she, instead of like comforting me, which, you know, I would have done that for her, just like reassurance, because, you know, I'm in a pretty much a foreign place. I had never been there. She knew everybody there, and I was like, I had no phone. Like, people were trying to get to me and I couldn't respond back until I got to Target, and I was like 5, 6, 7 miles away. Then, you know, she's like, I told you, you could have done this and you could have done that. And even she wasn't really answering her phone. Even when I was asking her about the areas, about where to get my Airbnb, she wasn't really answering her phone. I would have to catch her, you know what I mean? And then she was like, you know, I'm sensing an attitude from you. She was the one giving me all the attitude, and I was just like, okay. You know what I mean? I guess it was just coming off wrong through text message, but she was starting the attitude first. I didn't just come out of nowhere with it. She always thinks somebody's giving her an attitude. So, you know, with that text message, that was when I was first starting to see, like, she was kind of like, that was like a first sign. I don't write people off that easily, but that was a sign. And also, you know, they would fight sometimes, like, in the kitchen. Once again, I'm only saying this because she was trying to out my personal life. We would be in the kitchen, and this is just what couples do, but they would be fighting, like, and I would have to cut off the vlog because I didn't want to have to edit that part and rewatch it back. But yeah, and he would be like, you know, you're so selfish. All you think about is yourself. You don't appreciate anything that I do for you. They would always be arguing, and she would go in the room, slam the door, and he would go play his video games or whatever. That's what they would be doing, y'all. And not to say, I had saw her act that way with him, but I was like, well, you know, they're in love, so they're doing that. But I knew, obviously, it was gonna happen to me because of how easily she would get upset over things that weren't even worth it. But I was like, well, I only have a few more weeks living here and then I'm leaving, so pretty sure by that point it won't happen to me. I was wrong. Next morning is Saturday morning. We had both made plans. Her and her mom were gonna go to LA so that her mom could see her husband, and then she could go hang out with family and friends or whatever, and then I was gonna spend the day there, going to like the Grove and just hanging out and meeting people and just kind of like exploring the place by myself. That was when I was actually having fun. I ended up running into y'all every damn where. Like in Texas, I may run into like 1 or 2 in a month. There, like every day I would be meeting somebody that watches my channel. Like it was crazy. It was amazing. Like it really like brightened my day because I would sit down, talk to people, like, you know what I mean? I was taking up my time and it was just making my day a lot better. So yeah, I spent the day pretty much at the Grove hanging out. Then that night she asked me to go pick her up. She was staying at her ex-girlfriend's sister's house, who is like her best friend. Yeah, the sister is her best friend. And so I went there that night. I got some gas. We got gas before we even went to LA that morning. I got some more gas, and then I went and I picked her up, and then I drove to Lancaster. It was quick. We were having fun, talking, laughing, all that stuff, telling each other about our days, and I was getting to know her a bit more about, like, you know, we were just talking all that. I had a really long day. I was eating and just all that stuff, and we were both tired. We ended up just going straight to bed, and by this point, this is Sunday morning. She's like, you know what, we need to go do something today. And I was like, yeah, you're right. I tell her I'm gonna go run to Target and try to upload a video. The video was only 8 minutes, y'all, so I really didn't think nothing of it. I went to Target and almost 2 hours go by and this mug is like not really uploading that much. So after about an hour and a half of being at Target, she texts me and she says, hey, my friend wants to go meet up in LA. Can you bring back the car? So I said, sure. I only, like, the video is 8 minutes. I was just letting her know it was taking a while, but I'll be on the way. So I leave Target and then I drive to her house. You know, walk up there, knock on the door, knock, knock, knock. Nothing. Knock, 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 harder. Nothing. So I ring the doorbell a few times and I hear them in the living room like talking and laughing. So that's why I started ringing the doorbell. And like I guess they can't hear me. I mean, the doorbell's pretty loud. Like I can hear the doorbell from the outside. Still nothing. So I go to the car and I sit for a minute and I just text her from the outside. I noticed that we were getting better reception whenever we would be kind of like closer to each other. So yeah, I text her and I was just like, hey, you know, I was outside, you guys didn't open the door. She never texted me back. So I had to drive down the street because I was getting better reception about a mile away. Most people that live there have landline. I drove down the street and my brother ended up calling me and I was just giving her time to find the phone or whatever and probably like see my text and then text me back. Kept checking for it. I was on the phone with my brother for like 20 minutes. So then I was like, okay, I'm gonna call her. So I ended up calling her and I was like, hey, you know, she answers and I said, I came over earlier, but you guys didn't answer the door. I didn't want her to think that I was like trying to keep the car from her. So she says, well, why didn't you tell me? And I said, I did, I texted you. And then she said, well, why didn't you call? And I said, because I didn't have any reception. So she was like, oh. And I said, well, can you unlock the door? I'm not too far away from you guys. And she says, well, I'm right here in the living room. And I said, oh, well, you guys were in the living room earlier and I was ringing the doorbell, but I don't think anybody can hear me because of the TV. So could you just unlock the door, please? So she's like, okay. And then hangs up. So I drive over to the house and think nothing of it once again. And as soon as I'm walking in the door, you know, I walk in and I close the door. She's like, did you get my text message? And I said, no. And she says, well, can you get an Airbnb for the rest of the time you're here? And I said, sure. There's no reception, so I gotta go back over there. So I go in my room, I go on the Airbnb app, and nothing, right? Nothing is showing up. So I grab my camera, and I was like, fuck, I don't really have any battery. So I go in the living room where she is and I say, hey, did you see the battery charger for our Sonys? And because we have the same vlogging camera. And she's like, no, you took it when you drove off yesterday. And I was like, what? Like she literally flipped like that. I mean, I guess she had already had like an attitude, but now like the attitude was, you know, really, really, and I was like, what? So she says, yeah. So she starts kind of like scooting up like, yeah, you remember when you in the blah, and I was like, no, I did not. I told her I didn't drive off. Like, what? Like, if you had been feeling this way, that night we were laughing and talking on our way there and she did not have a problem with me. So what the hell is, like, what the hell? She says that I drove off. Didn't. Like, you literally closed the trunk. She started walking away towards the apartment and we both waved to each other. So I told her, no, you were walking towards the sidewalk. And before I could even finish that, she said, sidewalk? What sidewalk are you talking about? What? We don't have a sidewalk. You sound crazy. Get out of my face. That's what this girl told me. And I was like, what? I was like, oh, no. This bitch is really trying me. I'm a pretty logical person. So even when I'm arguing with somebody, I am trying to understand what the hell you're even talking about. Where are you coming from with all of this? I told her, these are, y'all listen, these are apartments. How are there not sidewalks in an apartment complex? How? That makes no sense. Like, you have a luggage and you have to roll it up to the apartment. You have to go upstairs, downstairs. There's a walkway. There is a sidewalk. What the fuck are you talking about? There's cement. And I feel like if you are walking on cement up to a leadway pathway, that's a sidewalk. And we're not even being logical with each other. Now, this girl is really trying to argue. She keeps dismissing me, putting her hand up like, and at this point she knows that she's wrong. You can kind of see it in her face. So she just starts dismissing me. Like, she literally tells me, you're dismissed. I'm done talking to you. I'm done talking to you. You've been having an attitude all weekend, Chinere. I'm done talking to you. So I'm like, what? I said, no, I didn't. And we just started arguing, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, you know what? You want to argue with me, and I'm not even going to do this with you today. And she's like, yeah, right, you're not. And I was like, what? Like, once again, what are you talking about? Y'all, I told this girl, look, I am not about to argue with you in front of your mom. Like, because she knows that it could go down. She was literally taking this opportunity because she was around her mom to act like a little bitch. So when I tell her I'm not going to argue with you because your mom is in the other room, and like, this lady was being nice and letting me stay there, I was not even starting any problems with her. Like, I had said hello, you know, when her mom, like, I got settled down the next morning because she worked the night shift. I came in, waited till the next morning to say hi and everything and thank her. And, you know, talk to them just a little bit. So she's gonna tell me you wasn't gonna get loud anyway. What were you gonna do with my mom? Like, that's just what she's doing. Like, this girl is, whew, she's using fighting words. Like, first of all, don't threaten me. Don't tell me what I am and what I'm not gonna do. And stop doing this. Stop doing that. Stop dismissing people. Like, it was not even serious, guys. Whatever it was, it did not warrant this behavior. So I go off into the room, and y'all, as I'm walking off, she doing that chihuahua shit, like yeah, that's right, go in there. That's what she was doing. Y'all, I grab my camera with no juice, and I go off to Starbucks, and I go in there, and I'm just heated. I'm like, whoo, you know. I have been to Starbucks about 20 minutes. I'm on Airbnb, just trying to figure stuff out. So while I'm in there, I call Miles Spears from YouTube. Y'all, check his ass out. And then I call my friend Whitney. We have each other's numbers. We talk, you know, from time to time. And y'all, they can vouch for me. I told them the exact same story, how it happened. I told them that my roommate pretty much flipped, because Miles Spears, his roommate, he just actually moved out because his roommate was acting crazy. He would come into the comments and start acting crazy. So I was like, boy, you would not believe what my roommate just did. And he was like, damn, she seems so nice from the vlogs. And I was like, boy, this girl fucking flipped on me just now, like out of nowhere. Like, okay, I'm gonna go away and let it cool down, because obviously she's in her feelings. If she was mad at me, like, this girl is in her 30s, she could have just come to me and said that she was upset, you know, just like I told her about how I wasn't really having a good time and how I don't know if it was a mistake coming down here. You know, I'm woman enough to just say like how I'm feeling, you know. After I talked to both of them, I'm like, okay, let me just find me an Airbnb. And the guy next to me, he started helping me out with the areas. Y'all, I didn't know where I was getting my stuff. I just picked West Hollywood. I was trying to pick something really close to the train, you know, the little bus that takes you, because you know, I was like, at this point, the way she's acting, she'll probably leave me, you know, like where I'm at. I find my Airbnb, I get it, and then I go to the gas station and I go put like $20 more gas, because I had went to Target, then I went to Starbucks, plus it's a rental. And then I go and I return my air pump to Walmart. So just to rewind a little bit, 20 minutes into being at Starbucks, her friend texted me and was like, hey, you know, she's trying to call you, if you can call her back, or something like that. So I was like, okay, she can call me. I wasn't getting none of her calls. It could have been where she was at, you know, she wasn't getting any calls. And so, you know, she texted me and she said that, because I did get like a weird phone number calling me, but I didn't know who it was. It may have even been her mom. I really don't even know, y'all. So yeah, then after I leave Walmart and I'm about 3 blocks away from the house. Her friend texts me and is like, I don't know what your problem is, but you need back her car. And I'm like, who are you? What the hell? I'm not keeping the car from her. There is no Wi-Fi. You want me to get an Airbnb? There is no reception. Nothing. What do you want me to do? So when she texted me that, I texted her back, and I was like, I already know it's about to be a hood rat reply, but I still did it because I'm petty. And I was like, look, I don't know what your problem is, but I am returning the car to she can always call me. That's what I said. And she just went off the wall. Look, I'm not. Don't be talking to me like I'm crazy. Like, bitch, shut up. Shut up. Nobody cares. There's enough issues right now. Why are you adding to it? So I'm guessing she called and told her I was going off on her or whatever. And I already knew there was a problem. So I still drove over there, pulled up. And she is, like, I literally, you know, pull into the driveway. She's already outside, like she was waiting by the window like a dog. Comes outside like, give me my keys, give me my keys, give me my keys. And I'm like, what, girl, you can have your keys. You know, I handed her keys and she's like, get the fuck out, get your shit and get out. like all that. And I'm like, what is wrong with you? Once again, I don't even know why I keep trying to reason, ask questions. She's crazy. I'm like, you wanted me to get an Airbnb, right? You wanted me to get the Airbnb, right? You know, I keep repeating myself, and she's not saying anything. She knows she's wrong. I told her while I was walking up to the door, I'm like, there's no service. There's no service. How was I supposed to get it? Like, my phone has no service. What the hell, you know? And y'all, this girl knows all about this. She kept telling me I had to get like closer to some router box, but that shit, the signal was moving all day long. So I'm like, and it's harder to even book it on your phone, to me, especially when I've never used it. So, you know, I'm like, you know, we're walking up to the door so I can go get my stuff out. Y'all, this is where the actual fight happens. So I'm walking up to the door. She's still talking all that mess. You know, she done got a little, like, she done changed her voice, everything. And she's still talking all that mess. It's like, I'm already going to go get my stuff. You don't have to do all that. If you wanted me to get my shit out, why didn't you? It's a suitcase, y'all. It's literally one suitcase and a wig that could have gone in the suitcase and my backpack. Why didn't you just bring it outside if you were so ready for me to go home? Like, why didn't you just pack my shit and just have it outside? I'm just an Uber drive away. It is not that big of a deal. You didn't have to make a scene, you know? But she was trying to embarrass me or whatever in front of nobody, because nobody lived in that neighborhood. When I get up to the door, you know, I walk in, and when I walk in, she gonna turn around and say, I changed my mind, I'm gonna go get your shit. And I was like, what? You know, I'm still halfway, like pretty much inside, but I'm like halfway into the door. If you ever got into a fight, all that shit just happens real quick. She turns around into the door. This girl is like here, and she's like, I'm gonna get your shit because I want you to get the fuck out. And I'm like, I already know that, so let me get my shit, you know? Let me get my stuff. It's right there in the room. Like, why the fuck do you need to do all this? You know, she puts her hand up, and we're just kind of like flailing hands or whatever. And so I don't know whose hand hit who's first, but I remember her closing the door like, boom, on me. And I knocked the door open, and with her hand, like, you know, her hand was there, and I just knocked it open, like, get the fuck off me. She gonna use that and try to act like I was trying to break in. No, don't be fucking closing doors on me, bitch. Are you crazy? I knocked her hand out. She thought I was trying to fight or whatever, and she gonna go like, you know, something like this. I don't know what her flailing ass was doing. Y'all, when she did that, that was a mistake. I went bop, bop, bop in her face, like, get the fuck out of my way. So that pretty much caught her by surprise. She thought she was gonna act crazy with me and she wasn't gonna get dealt. Y'all, this girl is like, oh hell no, oh hell no. She's like, bitch, bitch, and she's like not really doing much. Just grabbed this girl, like, let's flung her on the couch, and maybe this couch had like picture frames on it. I'm not really sure where the extra like glass came from, y'all, but there was glass, I guess, that broke. Now that, you know, I've taken a step back and looked at things. She landed on there, and you know, I'm like going at it. I don't give a fuck. We just like roll over on the floor, and she's kind of like, she had her hand in my mouth. Yeah, it was the weirdest fight, y'all. Like a little like a wild cat. I'm guessing this is the part where like we landed on glass, because at the end of the fight she was cut up too. And so then I'm just like on the floor going like that. Her mom comes in, and her mom does not want to pull me off, and I really don't blame her. She goes for Tahoe, and she grabs her, and she just pulls her off. She like by the leg or something like that, but she kind of like drags her. And so I yanked that wig off, y'all, and I don't do no hair pulling, but that thing was calling for me. She's like, I want a round two. You think you're gonna do that to me? I want a round two. So I was like, girl, shut the fuck up. Let me grab my phone. Y'all, I am one of those people. Once I'm done fighting with you, I'm done. I don't need to keep hitting you. I don't need to go for blood. I don't need to do all that stuff. Like, I'm done with you. She didn't want no round two, y'all. She wanted a redo. So I'm like, girl, shut up. You know, I see my phone over there, and I'm like, can I get my phone? I tell her mom I just want to get my phone, and she's like, yes, yes, please, just leave, just leave. And I'm like, let me get my phone. I'm calling the police. I, you know, kind of like walk to the side to my phone, and this girl reaches for me. Big mistake. I grab her, and it's kind of like that, going for her on that side, bam, bam, bam. And then her mom gets in the middle a little bit. You know, mom really didn't want to. She really wasn't doing much. She was doing a whole lot of moving, like a whole lot of moving, but it was like not doing anything. It was just like, I can't even explain it. It was all happening so fast. So then I see my phone once again. I'm like, let me get my phone. Her mom is holding her. She's like, Tahoe, you know, calm down. I'm just calling her Tahoe. And so I'm like, you're hitting your mom, because she kept like going for me, but she kept like going like this and like that, but she was missing. So I was like, what is this? So I keep telling her, like, girl, you're hitting your mom. You're hitting your mom. Like, look at you. She flung again. Like, I'm not even that far, y'all. And she's still going like that. So I back up and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna get my stuff later. And you know, I'm pretty much kind of like done. We're going like yelling at each other, and she's like, you know what, bitch, 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 bitch. And then she just like picks up a picture frame and she just goes like that on the side of my head. She hits me with the picture frame, y'all, and there was glass shattered everywhere. There was so much glass on the floor, like so much glass. And it was like a childhood picture of herself, so that's sad. I know I'm saying this fight really like slowly in detail, but y'all, the fight happened really quickly. It was like 2 minutes of like rumbling. After like 30-40 seconds, her mom came in and saw we were fighting and pulled her off. And then that picture thing happened maybe like 30 seconds later of her, you know, bouncing around and doing all that stuff. And it did not even hurt, surprisingly. I think it was more of just like a shock and the adrenaline. That's what made it more intense. So it was like, you know, those cowboy and Indian movies where like they'll be in a bar and then they'll have a bar fight and they'll hit you over the head with like a fake glass, and it's like acting glass. It's not even real. That's kind of what it was, because the picture frame was so cheap. Like, I've had like, good quality picture frames and they've dropped and they would like crack. They wouldn't just like shatter everywhere, you know what I mean? So this one just instantly, as soon as it hit the side of my head, it just shattered all over me. And I was like, what the fuck? And so there's glass everywhere. There's glass in my hair. You know, she's looking crazy. And so her mom is like hopping a little bit. So they won't give her my phone. She thinks she done did something. She's like, what, bitch? What, bitch? After she did that, I just looked at her and I said, bitch, you are trash. You're trash. You're fighting in front of your mom. You started this entire fight. Like, you're over 30 and you took a cheap shot and you started a fight and you can't. Like, you're fucking pathetic, and I'm done with your bitch ass. I left the house because I was like, she's gonna do whatever she wants with my shit. And I go next door. I run next door because, you know, the blood is actually starting to sting at this point, like all the cuts. I'm bleeding and I'm not even sure where I'm bleeding from at this point. Like, I'm bleeding on my face. I'm bleeding, like, I even got like glass in my eye. Like, I'll show you guys the clip. It keeps going out of focus whenever I get close. And I had gotten glass in my eye. I had to take a minute to just like shake the glass out of my hair. I didn't have on a wig or anything. I just had on my hat, the usual. And you know, my camera is gone, my camcorder, because I had started actually like vlogging because I knew it was about to be some shit when I pulled up. So, you know, I had my vlogging camera, that was gone. It was still in there in the living room. Run to the next door neighbor. They did not answer the phone. I heard somebody kind of saying something, nothing. Then I run across the street and this family was really nice and they helped me. She opened the door. She couldn't believe the story I was telling her. She was like, her across the street? And I said, no, it was her daughter. So they had a landline phone. We called the police. I just couldn't believe what was happening. Like, I was bleeding, I was stinging, like I have cuts on my back, like all kinds of stuff is happening, and I just look crazy. So the police come about 15 minutes later after the fight. When I first called the police, they thought it was my mom, but it was really her mom calling for her. And when I went over there, they were telling me they could only have her come get my stuff because I'm not allowed back on the premises, which I don't really fucking care, you know? I just wanted my shit. I told them what happened, and I told them that I wanted to press charges. They told me, if you press charges, so is she, and you're both going to jail right now if you do that. Do I really want to go back to jail again for this bitch? And I said no. I was like, no, you know what? We're good. What the fuck? Like, don't you see like what's going on here? They did not care, y'all. They didn't even clean me up really. Like, he put a little bit of like he wiped up my cut just on my thumb just a little bit. He put like a little gauze on it with some tape that fell off like 5 minutes later. Then he looked at the car and he was like, is anything else yours? So I was trying to be nice, okay, but I should have took that bitch's shit. There was a charger in there with a battery, and that was hers. That was rightfully hers. So I looked in the car. I got my purse. I got like a couple other things. You know, I got all my stuff out of the car. I left my juice on accident. And then they come out with my luggage and my backpack that was in the room. I go through my shit and I just see my camera and I'm like, okay, we're good. Like, I got everything. I got my phone, got my camera. And so they were telling me, you know, we gotta go. Y'all, they were like, they would not let me go back in. They were telling me that we have other calls, and I asked them, could you guys drive me to the nearest blah blah. They're like, no, we're not allowed to do that anymore. We have other calls, so we gotta go. So y'all, I walk across the street to the neighbor's house, and I asked the neighbors, you know, her husband, he goes and gets my luggage, everything from across the street or whatever that was on the porch. And then, you know, I'm looking through my bag and I'm like, what the fuck? My memory card that was 128 gig, like Samsung SD, you know, slide-in or whatever, memory card was gone, and so was the battery in my camcorder and my Sony 5100. Y'all, I was so mad. And on top of that, her friend is sending me all these crazy ass threatening text messages talking about this girl cared a lot about my pussy, and mind y'all, these women are in their 30s. And I'm like, bitch, shut the fuck up. Shut up. You don't even know she's never been to fight, and I highly doubt that. First of all, I thought I was gonna get my ass beat. She got them broad shoulders, and she's military trained, and she's older. Like, what the fuck? Like, what? Like, girl, did nobody even go after this girl? You over here, and you want me to drive all the way to LA to fight you? You sound so damn stupid. You know where I'm at. In the text message, I just laughed it off because she sounded so crazy and so dumb. Like, girl, take this L and keep it pushing. Your friend got her ass beat, and now you're mad, and now you want to come in. You know what I mean? Then on top of that, y'all, her mom lied to the police and told them that we were wrestling, and, you know, we just knocked over a picture frame because they were asking why is there so much glass on the floor and what happened. So it was like, you lied. You know damn well your daughter picked up that picture frame and hit me with it. She told them that it was like a mutual fight or whatever, and that she was the only witness, so they had to take her story over mine. I'm over there at the family's house. They were really nice to me. Then, you know, they let me take a shower over there. I ended up calling an Uber that was 60 bucks because I needed to get down to the San Fernando Valley from Lancaster. So she ended up dropping me off at a certain area so that I could take the Uber over there. That's how things happen. At first, I was gonna take my Uber to West Hollywood. Y'all, after the events and stuff, I did not want them to see me like that. I did not want to walk, like, even though I was done, like, I was still cut, like, I was still bleeding, like, my hair looked crazy, like, so I just, you know, I popped on a wig and I told Snapchat about what was going on with me, like, what was happening real time with me, and nobody could believe it. And Miles was like, girl, I just talked to you, like, I can't believe how fast it escalated. Then Whitney called me and she was like, oh my gosh, you know, because I had just told her a few hours about how this girl was acting and stuff, and I was like, I think I'm gonna have to take an early flight. So, you know, everybody was just, and people were like really shocked, of course. Then a few people were there were like, oh, you're taking too long to respond to me, because they just wanted to know what was happening. And I actually called a couple other people earlier because I was like, I think I'm gonna go over there while I'm in California and just hang out for a day so that, you know, me and her shit don't escalate. And yeah, that's why I didn't respond to you, because I was just responding through Snapchat to everyone, you know, to know the story, what was going on. After that, I ended up going over to another YouTuber's house, crazy enough. And y'all, this girl is so bomb. She was so nice and everything. And I know, like, my word is kind of like hard to believe right now. But I take face value. If they're nice, you know, I'll just say it. And she was really nice, and she really helped me. She told me to come on over, like, right now. She said, and she was even updating me on how far she was from the house, and I was telling her how far I was and everything. And she came and she met me outside at the Uber. She was just so great. And, you know, my Uber driver was cool too, and I really wasn't trusting anybody, I'm not even gonna lie. Plus, I had just paid for my Airbnb, but I just went over there anyway. So yeah, I spent the entire day with her the next day. Then, you know, the aftermath happens. I already knew that this grimy ass bitch was gonna start doing stuff, you know? She took no time. People started going after her on, you know, Instagram and Snapchat. Now listen, the only reason why I even made this stuff public, because like I said, I was not gonna really say much about it, honestly, because I really trusted this girl and I really thought she was my friend, y'all. Y'all know my vlogging style. I am so personal, like, I'm not gonna just be putting people in my vlogs. I like one-on-one type of thing and just talking to the camera. I don't need to show out, party, and do all that stuff. Like, if I want to, I'll do it, you know what I mean? But that's not really what goes on in my life. I'm real with y'all. So if I add somebody to the equation, it means that I really trust this person and I like them and I'm not fucking fake. So this girl, at first, she was bragging on Instagram, and this is where the lies come out. She was like, one idiot, like, and I'm glad this idiot wrote her, was like, why you beat up Chinyere? And she was like, she disrespected my mom, which, y'all, I did not disrespect her mom. I barely even saw her mom that much, so I didn't disrespect her mom. And she was like, I tried to break in. I was halfway into the door and you tried it. You know, she was just lying. And so she said, you know, so I had to do what I had to do, you know. That's what she was trying to act like. She was, you know, and on Snapchat, she was talking all that mess like she beat me up. So I went on Snapchat and I was just like, y'all, this girl did not beat me up. She hit me with a picture frame because it was a cheap shot and she was losing. But when people started going on Instagram and started calling her out, y'all, it was a whole nother story. She was like, you know, she tried to break in. I had to defend my family. I didn't know what to do. This girl even went online and created a victims forum for herself. You know, the first thread about her is about her damn self. It's her starting it. You know that's sad. So anyway, she goes online. She tells people I'm a criminal, prostitute, like liar, my family, you know, ain't shit. She tells people this. Now listen, guys. I never, ever told anybody about this girl's background, about her personality. I said nothing. That night, I told y'all what happened to me. I just told y'all. Now, when you don't have a good backstory and you know you've done wrong, you have to go online and you have to lie and you have to pull anything. Just like she did with that picture frame, y'all. This girl was pulling any damn thing from the stop. She's like, you know, she's this, she's that. I didn't feel the need to do that. I didn't need to go online and defamate, like, or whatever, defamate her name and do all that, like, that's not what the goal was. That's not what I need to do. I already have enough shit on you to do that. I don't need to do that. All I did was talk about what happened. So, since she wants to do that, that's why I mentioned the part about her not having kids. I don't know who told y'all that. Not being married. I mean, she was a lesbian for a very long time, so that's maybe where the whole, you know, control issues come from. But yeah, she had done all that shit and she went online and was talking about that. Now listen, like I said, guys, why would you allow a prostitute criminal in the house with your son, your stepson, and your fiance? Who does that? Like, I'm not stupid. And if it's a bad thing, right? Because apparently for her to tell people that it's a bad thing. So why would you do that? Because you're a fucking liar. That's why. And you need to cover your shit. Then on top of that, guys, she canceled my flight back home. I already knew she was going to do this. So one of the first things I did was I called American Airlines and I was like, you know, I just needed them to confirm it. And she did it at like midnight. So, you know, this girl had been planning everything. Hey, did you say to my flight that the card holder, what did she do?
She canceled out your flight.
Okay, that was Shavante, right?
She has done so, yes.
Okay, Shavante Monique? I'm just trying to make sure it was the right person.
The cardholder, Shavante Gibson.
Oh, okay. Thank you. All right. I'm going to look right quick just to make sure and check out my flights. Thank you. Just a second.
You're welcome. Okay.
She had flown in early so that she could go and change the locks on the apartment and so that she could beat me there and get all my shit and drag it into the garage. And they couldn't tell me that, but I already knew because somebody from Snapchat told me that they asked her if she was already home and she said yeah, she was home. So good job. So I was like, you know what, girl, I have no other reason to be in LA. You know, we did go apartment hunting on Monday. So I ended up just booking a ticket. It was like $100 and something. More money wasted, y'all. Not only was I paying for my baggage fees, paying for gas, and just a bunch of stuff that I'm gonna, you know, list and show you guys what happened. Drops me off at like the train station. I take like the, you know, mega bus or whatever that bus was to LAX. And, you know, I go through everything. You know, the flight takes me to Dallas, and then I get my car out of the parking garage. And then I drive home. I empty out my car because I knew I was gonna have to be packing up my stuff. Look, I already knew what this girl was doing, like step by step. I already know, because when you're a grimy ass bitch, this is what you do. And she honestly kind of made it easier for me, honestly. So I told my brother, my oldest brother, I was like, can you meet me in Houston? You know, I have something going on. I told him, I'm moving out of my roommate's apartment. Can you help me move my stuff? And he said, sure. He asked me how long it was gonna take. I told him like 20 minutes. You guys, I had nothing really at her house. I had like 2 totes and like a few boxes for some new stuff I had bought and like a little unfoldable chair. Like I really had nothing over there, and I had my pots and pans. So he was like, cool. Then I called up a sheriff to come meet me over there by her house so that they could escort me just in case she tries anything crazy. And I vlogged it. So, you know, I pull up to the house. She's, you know, like, she keeps saying, like, I don't even understand why you keep saying this. She's like, her stuff is in the garage. She can't come in here. Like, I know that bitch. I don't want to go up in there. I already knew what you were going to do.
Oh,
her stuff is in the garage. I'll go open it.
Okay, can you open the garage up? Thank you.
Stuff's in there. It took no time, literally 4 minutes maybe. All my stuff was in the car, and we drive off. My brother meets me and he helps me to pack everything into the car, and you know, we hug and I leave and I go right back to Dallas, y'all. I had flown from California to Dallas that morning, drove to Houston, had to go pick up my wig after I got my shit from her house, then drove back to Dallas. And for people that are wondering about the breakdown of things, and once again, I'm only saying the breakdown because she put the shit out there trying to say stuff about me. First of all, you stole the battery from my Sony a5100 and the SD card, which was 128 gig. Then you stole the charger for my T5i. We both have T5is, guys. We both have Sony 5100s. Then I had to buy another plane ticket to go back there. I had to pay for both of my check bags, which if you would have just answered your damn phone, I wouldn't have had to do. I mean, I could have just bought it on my own instead of wasting money with you canceling my ticket and having the power to do that. You know what I mean? I could just did it on my own because I ended up paying anyway. Y'all, I would have bought a carry-on so quick. Then I had to pay for an Airbnb for 2 nights. That was $100, which was totally fine because, you know, my first one canceled and then whatever. I also gave her $70 for gas because I used the car for 1 day when I was in California. The needle barely moved because we had like a hybrid type of car that would turn off and turn on. And then I went to Target and then, you know, Starbucks the next day. So I used it for like a day and a half. Then I had to pay for parking when I got back from the DFW airport. It wasn't a big deal. It was only like 50 bucks. She got free parking because, like I said, she's a disabled veteran, whatever. Now, a Sony battery is about $60 to $70 for a real one, unless you go online and you get one that breaks every so often. I'm gonna go check and see. But I do have an extra one that hopefully she does not get her hands on. We'll see. And I did have to actually buy myself a new battery charger for my T5i. So I have had to spend a lot of money, and that's not even counting, like, you know, just having fun money and going out and doing stuff and going out to eat, and, you know, I bought some glasses, y'all. You know what I mean? That doesn't even count all of that. And honestly, you want to talk about somebody being a criminal. First of all, your fiance was selling drugs for years, even when you guys met. So what is the difference with you? Like, what? I mean, like girl, take a stand. So girl, you tried to break me, it did not work, and I'm so glad this didn't happen when I was like 18 or 19. I would have literally been broken and stranded in LA, and good Lord, thank God. Thank God. You guys, that was my story about LA and what happened, the altercation. Hopefully this long ass video makes up for all the videos that I have been skimping on and, you know, not doing like I should be doing. But yeah guys, so I will tell y'all about my location soon. I did go apartment hunting while I was in LA, and I got a better feel for it. I'm not gonna lie, y'all. It's a bit overhyped, and it's not as great as I thought. Texas is definitely cleaner, and the beaches are just like Texas. So that's not a big deal. So not only is Texas cleaner, but in LA, the people were pretty nice. So, you know, some parts they weren't, but yeah. I mean, it was okay, honestly, overall. I'm not gonna let her deter my wanting to go there or not. Now, I'm not gonna lie, it did kind of make me, like, visiting there and all that stuff happened. It did kind of make me be like, if everybody like this, there's no way. You know, there's gotta be good people out there and stuff like that. So, we shall see. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you sat through to the end. I love you so much, and I'll talk to you later. Bye!